Hello guys, welcome to a new edition of React today as part of the World's Way Out project. It's Sunday, Resurrection Sunday, and for us who believe in Christianity, there's some discernment that is our duty to make. And for that reason, I would like to dare to speak as a Christian. What I think, whether you're evangelical, Protestant, Calvinist, and whatever your affiliation is on any of the Christian churches, especially those with tradition, with heritage, with knowledge of the word, like the Catholic Church, the Evangelical Church, the Baptist Church, the Mennonites, and many others that represents the gathering of peoples from all around the world, Puritanists, you name it, that came to America and Canada and spread over Central and South America, spreading the gospel. There's many interpretations for the gospel nowadays. There's some of those that believe in the rapture, some of those that believe in Mr. Darby's notion of the rapture. And there's three different aspects of the rapture that I'm pretty sure you have talked about before or have been involved with in many other churches, that there's thousands and thousands of churches. So what I'm trying to do today is to convey our understanding of what the gospel is according to a citizen. I'm just a regular citizen, concerned citizen about how religion and the power of convictions of priests and others can help support candidates, presidents, policies, senators, parliamentaries, representatives, whether in the Senates or the parliaments of the UK, the European Union, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the United States, the Western tradition as we understand it culturally, that comes from the understanding, and I imply what understanding means, discernment, knowledge, etc., in this case, of what these religions convey in our time. So yes, there's people that believe the rapture is going to happen before the 7 years of destruction, others during the 7 years of destruction, others after the 7 years of destruction, that the book of Daniel and the book of Revelations invite us to think about and meditate over the centuries. Today we're going to see not who's right and who's wrong, but according to the Gospel and according to the Old Testament, what approach we Christians will have to take in these times, so ugly times, that Matthew 24 describes so well, that the Apocalypse in the book of Revelations 13, 18 or 13 or no, the whole book, 22 chapters, tells us about the end of times. How can this issue that will buy and sell all those who have the mark of the beast, whether in their wrists or in their forehead, etc. And it's happening already in Sweden, long time ago, for more than 5 years, so it's nothing new for Sweden. But it is for a cashless society, which is one of the plans of the World Economic Forum. And the super rich, the elites, which are totally separated from what the people's will be, in terms of a republic, in terms of a monarchy, in terms of a democratic monarchy, a constitutional monarchy, etc. And we need to talk about it, whether we like it or not, especially Sunday, Resurrection Sunday. Welcome. So, I'm going to start with what Benjamin Netanyahu is supporting his attitude. This is also supported by many Christians around the world, and it comes from Genesis 12. And as you know, in Genesis, it's supposed to be the God speaking to men. So according to the Bible, the book of Genesis, I don't know what Bible would you like to have. I like the Catholic Bible. It includes 5 more books that are not in the Protestant, that sometimes they have to look after, like the book of Maccabees, etc. But that's another commentary that we can make another time. Genesis 12. So we have it here. Like I said, you can have the Reina Valera, the Valera Queen. You can have the King James Bible, which is the most popular between Anglo-Saxons, um, the Standard Version, and many other, the Greek version, the Vulgata version, whatever you believe in better. I like to compare editions, like I compare the translations between the King James and the Catholic Church one. So today we're going to rely on the Catholic Church. Like I said, you can follow with whatever. This is not about being Christian, Catholic, Christian, Mennonite, Christian. As long as you're Christian, the Word of God is the source that I use. Yahweh said to Abraham, leave your country, your family, and your father's house for the land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name so famous that it will be used as a blessing. And I quote, I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who slight you. All the tribes of the earth shall bless themselves by you. He's talking about Abraham. So Abraham went as Yahweh told him, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abraham took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had amassed, and the people they had acquired in Haran. They set off for the land of Canaan and arrived there. Abraham passed through the land as far as Shechem's holy place, the oak of Moreh. At that time, the Canaanites were in the land. The Canaanites. So there were people there. Yahweh appeared to Abraham and said, it is to your descendants that I will give this land. So Abraham built there an altar for Yahweh who had appeared to him. From there he moved on to the mountains district east of Bethel, where he pitched his tent, with Bethel to the west and Ai to the east. There he built an altar to Yahweh and invoked the name of Yahweh. Then Abraham made his way stage by stage to the Negev. And you can read the rest. Alright, so what we have to make the difference here, I'm no priest, but you can talk and ask to your priest about it. Like I said, I'm just a student, but I have accomplished all the requirements in the Catholic Church to become a professor in catechism, and that I was for many years. So I don't consider myself to be an ignorant on this matter. Even though you might not agree with me, you can make in the comments why you will not be. We have to keep in mind that the word of God was given to Abraham in order for Abraham and the people of the world to be blessed through him. Then comes that he couldn't have a son, and he has to have a son with the slave, which is now the Muslim world. And for that reason, the legitimate son of Abraham's descendants will be the one that we have to keep in mind. The rest are not to be taken on account, even though God blessed the son of the slave too. And make of it a great nation, like he promised under the tree when she was dying of thirst with his son Ismail, with her son Ismail. Agar and her son were taken out of the city, or the village, or we might say it was only tents in those days. So yeah, to die in the desert. So when we see that God is speaking to Abraham, not yet Israel, we know the story behind Israel. That was Jacob who struggled with the angel. And when you see the word struggle, means that it was in disaccord and didn't believe this. You have to read the book when it says, no, don't let me go. I won't let you go until you bless me. And said, there's nothing to bless on you. No, yes, there is. I won't let you go until you bless me. So the angel hit him in the kister or something like that and hurt him. But the angel said, okay, I'll bless you and I'll leave you. From now on, you will be called Israel, etc. Further than that, because we see how then, after Exodus and Leviticus and the rest of the books of the Bible, is all about Moses and how Moses and the story behind Moses, which is beautiful, and we see during the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, even though we Catholics celebrate the whole week, commemorate the passing, the birth, the ministry, the passing of our Jesus Christ when he was crucified, and of course today, his resurrection. We Catholics and we Christians do believe and have an agreement on that. And that was why Jesus came to the world, in order to gather our sins and said, okay, man, you know what? I can't carry that load for you. And I can forgive you from all your sins. Of course, there is a tendency over the centuries to believe that the Jews were the ones that crucified Jesus Christ, because it's true. And we can see on the Jewish high-class actors and actresses that say that if Jesus came back, they will crucify again. And if you want to be a Christian and want to convert the people of Israel, well, you might have that chance. So next time that you go to your tourism agency and you go with your guide and your pastor, go and convert the people in the cities of Israel. I think you have that freedom. No? In order for them to say, don't worry, you don't have to convince me, we already find your Christ. And again, this girl Schomer, the actress, says again that don't worry guys, we found Jesus. And again, the point is what they did with him, throwing out Barabbas, choosing Barabbas, and the Barabbases that are right here positioning themselves all around the world instead of Jesus. Because Jesus is for the public, is universal, it's not private, it's not for the corporations, it's not for the few. His message was for all, not for a few, which is the message of the side of the hill that the 70 elders received, while Moses was receiving the 10 commandments. According to the Talmud, 70 elders receive a message different than that of Moses. And the point is that when Moses was not even back into the village, to the campsite, when they were already building up a calf of gold, a golden calf. And they were adoring him and asking him for favors and guidance, and yeah. So Moses went crazy. You can read the part. I leave that to you. I don't want to make of this a 6 hours lesson. So what we see here is that the Zionists are building the calf, and the non-Zionists are abiding to the Torah, which is the law of Moses, the first 5 books that you can find in any Christian or Catholic Bible, which are supposed to be the values and shared values of the Jews and the Christians, which is a total lie, but that's what Benjamin Netanyahu, you saw in my last video, saying that the amazing values that we share are genocide, and we are a superior race, worse than the Germans. We're going to eliminate all enemies because our God is stronger, is the mightiest God, and he comes to destroy Israel's enemies. And whoever is against us, God will destroy, and we will destroy whomever is against us. Dead to all who opposes us. That is the vision of Israel. It has been for thousands of years, since the guys that built the calf and receive another revelation than from Moses have believed in. That's a book of 32 or 36, 36 volumes, the Talmud, that they really believe in. So if you want to share your values, your Christian values with the Jews, go to Israel, give it a try. Try to convert people there. Or take a look to this one here.
That I know for the police that you were attacking me.
But you cannot do this.
Don't take a picture, take it down.
You know, come
Take
on,
it down.
this is not, you are touching me, you have no right to touch me, you have no right to spit on me. Okay. Hey, come on. Could you make, very good, could you make a picture of him? It's very good.
No! No!
לא, כלום.
תסתום את הפאקינג לא שלך,
Don't father.
הבנת?
No, he spit on me. He spit on me and he touched me. Because the police is always asking. Then I need a picture of his face.
בוא תצלם אותי. בוא תצלם אותי, השרמוטה, בוא. אל תיגע בי, אל תיגע בי, תסתום את הפה שלך, שאני לא אפרק אותך לפה, לגל שלא תסתום אותי, תזהר ממני.
This is what they...
Okay, so that's how Israel is treating everybody else because they are in ecstasy after their 9/11, according to Benjamin Netanyahu himself and the other people, his ministry, Ben Gavir, and all these guys that are for genocide. And we are supposed to believe that the same values that are written in the New Testament that we celebrate this weekend are the same values of the Jews. I don't think so, dude. And that's where you have to make a distinction today, and that's my work as a Christian to do. And I'm not trying to convince you here of anything, like the politicians do, or the super rich people that don't even ask, like the chemtrails, like the pandemic, like the vaccination programs, like the 2030 agenda, like all the woke agenda, and all the confusing times that we are living in, which are not confusing, it's just lies over lies over lies. And if we the people don't react today to these matters, all those superpowers that are corrupted to the core in different congresses and parliaments are going to guide us to hell, which is what they're doing now, with the possibility of attacking Russia and considering that Russia is stupid and that NATO is going to go to war and picking a fight against Russia is the solution, just because Russia is saying no to all this crap that we in the Western culture have been receiving, especially for the last 5 years. That's right. So, I believe that we don't have the same values as the Jews whatsoever, and that we have to be clear on that matter. If there is some values, it's with the non-Zionists that are against what the Zionists in Israel and the 91% of their population are for, which is genocide, the depletion of Palestine, and the appropriation of their land, their resources under the ground, their sea, and to build up, as you saw in the last video, beachfront houses for all the Israelis to live. And the American and the foreigners, Israelis, Jews, people that want to live there, they're welcome.
בוקר טוב למשפחת הרי זהב. אנחנו נמצאים פה בתרגיל בצפון וחי"ר. יש פה כמה פצועים שנפלו בכוח.
מה נשמע הרי זהב? וואי, מתגעגע לכם. אנחנו כאן בלב עזה, עושים מה שעושים.
Others are thinking that what Israel is doing is very wrong. So they're leaving Israel and buying property in Hudson Bay, in New York or the Hamptons, God takes over. But not only that, Deuteronomy also speaks about how to dominate people with money. Know where the gold is, where the resources are, and I will do that. If I were an outsider and I knew how to operate in another planet, I would say this is the way to keep it happening. This is the way to use your power and inflict superiority. Inflict, because it should be a more democratic issue. Say, okay, guys, let's get ourselves together in understanding. If you see that people are in somehow inferior, what are the parameters? What is the criteria to believe that somebody is inferior? There are many aspects that come from human nature, and there are other aspects created by economic differences that could have been overcome already over the centuries, but it's not the interest of the strong, which Plato talked about, that we mentioned before, 2300 years, when he said, what is justice, with Thrasymachus, and he answered, justice is what is in the interest of the strong, and has not changed whatsoever. But the point is, in the 21st century, it shouldn't be like this. We are living still in not a post-colonial, but a neo-colonialism, I will say, that uses religion in order to acquire political gain by gaining the hearts and minds of soldiers, police, institutions, but especially Christians, using this book as a stronghold for them, as Benjamin Netanyahu, I repeat, keeps on saying to the Christians everywhere around the world. So what he's talking about, okay, for example, in Deuteronomy, it says, when Yahweh your God has annihilated the nation whose land Yahweh your God gives you, and you have disposed them, and you live in their towns and in their houses, you are to set aside 3 cities in the land Yahweh is giving you for your possession. You must keep the approaches to them in good order and divide into 3 parts the area of the land Yahweh your God is giving into your possession. Okay? And 21, I just read chapter 19, on the 21st said, in the land Yahweh is giving you as your possession, if a murdered man is discovered lying in the open country and it is not known who killed him, your elders and scribes must go and measure the distance between the victim and the surrounding towns. When you go to war against your enemies, when you read the book of Deuteronomy, Leviticus, it's all about the land that Yahweh is promised the people of Israel. That's okay. I have no problem with that. As long as international law, 21st century later, 21 centuries later, is not being disregarded by just one country in the world that is part of the United Nations and signature to the treaties, to the Charter of the United Nations, and to human rights, the Declaration of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which are documents that have to be respected and for which and to which the rest of the countries have abided, regardless the veto power of the United States and Israel and others that was defeated just recently. I'm talking about last Monday. Thanks to the resolution that has been passed, the application of the Convention of the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide in the Gaza Strip of 28 March 2024, which goes as follows, and let's go to the measures that have been ordered to Israel. Of course, Israel that same day killed 18 people, in between of them 9 kids. Alright, on 29 December 2023, the Republic of South Africa, here in South Africa, filed in the registry of the court an application instituting proceedings against the State of Israel hereinafter Israel concerning alleged violations in the Gaza Strip of obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Genocide Convention or the Convention. Second, in its application, South Africa seeks to found the court's jurisdiction on Article 36, Paragraph 1 of the Statute of the Court and on Article 9 of the Genocide Convention. Thirdly, the application contained a request for indication of provisional measures submitted with reference to Article 41 of the statute and to Articles 73, 74, and 75 of the Rules of Court. Since at the time of the filing of the application the court included upon the bench no judge of the nationality of either of the parties, each party availed itself of its right under Article 31st of the statute to choose a judge ad hoc. That means it has no conflict of interest for any of the nations for whom the judges are present. Okay. After hearing the parties, the court, by an order of 26 January 2024, indicated the following provisional measures. Firstly, the State of Israel shall, in accordance with its obligations under the Convention of the Prevention and Punishment of Crime of Genocide in relation to Palestinians in Gaza, take all measures within its power to prevent the commission of all acts within the scope of Article 2 of this convention in particular. A. Killing members of the group. B. Causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. C. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. And D. Imposing measures intended to prevent abuse within the group. Secondly, the State of Israel shall ensure with immediate effect that its military does not commit any acts described in point 1 above. Thirdly, the State of Israel shall take all measures within its power to prevent and punish the direct and public incitement to commit genocide in relation to members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip. And fourthly, the State of Israel shall take immediate and effective measures to enable the provision of urgently needed basic services and humanitarian assistance to address the adverse conditions of life faced by Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Fifthly, the State of Israel shall take effective measures to prevent the destruction and ensure the preservation of evidence related to the allegations of acts within the scope of Article 2 and Article 3 of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide against members of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip. By a communication dated 12 February 2024, South Africa, referring to the development circumstances in Rafah, called upon the court urgently to exercise its power under Article 75, paragraph 1 of the Rules of Court. By a letter dated 15 February 2024, Israel provided its observations on South Africa's communication. You can find it. They see no problem whatsoever. I'm going to give you just one. On 26 February 2024, Israel submitted within the time limit fixed for that purpose a report on all measures taken to give effect to the court's order on the indication of provisional measures of 26 January 2024, pursuant to paragraph 86 of paragraph 6 thereof. South Africa presented these observations on the report on 11 March 2024. On 6 March 2024, South Africa requested the court to indicate further provisional measures and or modify its provisional measures indicated on 26 January 2024 with reference to Article 41 on the statute of the court, as well as the Article 75, paragraphs 1 and 3 and 76 of the Rules of Court. Herein after the request of 6 March 2024, the Deputy Registrar immediately communicated a copy of South Africa's request to the Government of Israel by a subsequent communication. The Registrar informed the respondent that 15 March 2024 had been fixed as the time limit within which it could present written observations regarding that request. Exactly. So the answer is that general observations. The State of Israel shall take immediate and effective measures to enable the provisions of urgently needed basic services and humanitarian assistance to address famine and starvation and the adverse conditions of life faced by Palestinians in Gaza by A. Immediately suspending its military operations in Gaza. B. Lifting its blockade of Gaza. C. Rescinding all of their existing measures and practices that directly or indirectly have the effect of obstructing the access of Palestinians in Gaza to humanitarian assistance and basic services. And D. Ensuring the provision of adequate and sufficient food, water, fuel, shelter, clothing, hygiene, and sanitation requirements alongside medical assistance, including medical supplies and support. Fifthly, the State of Israel shall submit an open report to the court on all measures taken to give effect to all provisional measures ordered by the court to date, within 1 month as from the date of this order. And that was March 6th. Okay. South Africa states that its request of 6 March 2024 is prompted by the horrific deaths from starvation of Palestinian children, including babies brought about by Israel. Its deliberate acts and omissions, including Israel's concerted attempts since 26 January 2024 to ensure the funding of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency on UNRWA, and Israel attacks on starving Palestinians seeking to access what extremely limited humanitarian assistance Israel permits into northern Gaza in particular. In the applicant's view, these developments, in particular the widespread starvation, constitute a change in the situation in Gaza for the purposes of Article 76 of the Rules of Court. And numeral 17, Israel rejects in the strongest terms South Africa's claims that incidents of starvation in Gaza are a direct result of its deliberate acts and omissions. It states, that is Israel, that armed hostilities in Gaza were in progress on 26 January 2024 and still continue. Furthermore, according to the respondent, the court had already taken account in its order of 26 January 2024 of materials introduced by South Africa with respect to the food insecurity in Gaza. Consequently, in Israel's view, and I quote, the difficult and tragic situation in Gaza Strip in the last weeks could not be said to materially change the considerations upon which the court based its original decision concerning provisional measures. In other words, we don't care, and what they're saying is a lie. And why is that? Because South Africa came again and said what's happening, and we said on March the 6th, has taken a change of ways, but for the worse. Horrific deaths from starvation of Palestinian children, including babies brought about by Israel, deliberate acts and omissions, including Israel's concerted attempts since 26 January 2024 to ensure the defunding of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. But they say that is not true, that Israel rejects in the stronger terms South Africa's claim that incidents of starvation in Gaza are a direct result of its deliberate acts and omissions. Okay, the court recalls that in its order of 26, 2020, okay, the court notes, this is Article 19, the court notes that on 18 March 2024, an updated report on food insecurity in the Gaza Strip was issued by the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification Global Initiative, IPC Global Initiative, a global partnership of organizations including inter alia, the World Food Programme, WFP, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, and the World Health Organization, WHO. According to this report, it says, and I quote, the IPC acute food insecurity, I say it again, I quote, the IPC acute food insecurity analysis conducted in December 2023 warned of a risk that famine may occur by the end of May 2024. If an immediate cessation of hostilities and sustained access for the provision of essential supplies and services to the population did not take place. Since then, the conditions necessary to prevent famine have not been met, and the latest evidence confirms that famine is imminent in the northern governorates and projected to occur anytime between mid-March and May 2024. IPC Global Initiative, a special brief, the Gaza Strip, 18 March 2024.
Tiny limbs, bones protruding. The constant sound of crying from children now facing starvation in Gaza. In this overrun hospital ward, anxious mothers watch on as doctors provide whatever care they still can. But for some, there is nothing more to be done. 3-year-old Mila, who had been suffering from acute malnutrition, now another victim of this merciless war. She was healthy. There was nothing wrong with her before, Mila's mother says. Then suddenly, everything dropped. She wasn't eating anything. We had no milk, no eggs, nothing. She used to eat eggs every day before the war, but now we have nothing. Across Gaza, too many are feeling the pain of this deepening hunger crisis. Small children, emaciated and malnourished. These were little Yazan's final moments, his tiny fingers gripped in his mother's hand. He, like Mila, would not make it. Others are still just barely holding on. But there is no telling how long they will survive. Standing beside Mila's body, Dr. Ahmed Salem says many children at this hospital are now dying due to a lack of food and oxygen supplies.
So as you can see, when you rely only on the scripture, that when you go to the land that I will give you, when you clean up the land that I give you, when you have eradicated everybody that lives there, but Yahweh your God is bringing you into a prosperous land, a land of streams and springs of waters that well up from the deep in valleys and hills, and land of wheat and barley, of vines, of figs, of pomegranates, and lot of olives, of oil, of honey, a land where you will eat bread without stint, where you will want nothing, a land where the stones are of iron, where the hills may be quarried for copper. You will eat and have all you want, and you will bless Yahweh your God in the rich land he has given you. Take care you do not forget Yahweh your God, neglecting his commandments and customs and laws, which I lay on you today. When you have eaten and had all you want, when you have built fine houses to live in, when you have seen your flocks and herds increase, your silver and gold abound, and all your possessions grow great, do not become proud of heart. Do not then forget Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery, who guided you through this vast and dreadful wilderness, a land of fiery serpents and scorpions, those who in these water places and this waterless place brought you water from the hardest rock, who in this wilderness fed you with manna that your fathers had not known, to humble you and test you, and so make your future the own hand and your own future happier. Beware of saying in your hearts, my own strength and the might of my own had won this power for me. Remember, Yahweh your God. It was He who gave you this strength and won you this power, thus keeping the covenant then as today that He swore to your fathers. Be sure that if you forget Yahweh your God, if you follow other gods, if you serve them and bow down before them, I warn you today, you will most certainly perish. Like the nations Yahweh is to destroy before you, so you yourselves shall perish for not having listened to the voice of Yahweh your God. This is Deuteronomy 8:16 to 20. And as you can see, this is a colonizer method, program. This is a colonizer from one God that we don't know, but I don't think it's the God of the gospel, because it's not. One thing that you need to remember for what I just read, and that is Deuteronomy 8 from 16 to 20. Remember Yahweh your God, it was He who gave you this strength and whom this power to keep the covenant then as today. I warn you today, you will almost certainly perish like the nations if you disobey. What has been the relation between, in the Old Testament, if you have read the Old Testament, the relationship between God and His people is nothing but sour. They have betrayed God all the time, since Genesis 6. When He said, okay, I'm going to raise these people, man. These guys are terrible. Fucking crazy. The angels mixing with the woman here. Okay, let's get rid of this. And now He gave another opportunity. These guys build a calf, a gold calf, and start adoring Him, saying that the revelation they receive is different than the one of Moses, that they have different duties. But they read us these parts that we Catholics and Christians know about. But what about the parts that they don't tell us, which are how superior they are, and the rest of peoples are dumb? And remember, never forget how you provoked Yahweh your God in the wilderness. From the day you came out of the land of Egypt, you have been rebels against Yahweh. At Horeb you provoked Yahweh, And Yahweh was so angry with you that he was ready to destroy you. I had gone up the mountain to receive the tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant that Yahweh was making with you. I stayed 40 days and 40 nights on the mountain, eating no bread, drinking no water. Yahweh gave me the 2 stone tablets inscribed by the finger of God, and all the words on them that Yahweh had spoken to you on the mountain from the midst of the fire, on the day of the assembly. At the end of the 40 days and 40 nights after he had given me the 2 tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant, Yahweh said to me, leave this place, go down quickly, for your people whom you brought out of Egypt have broken faith. They have been quick to leave the way I marked out of them. They have made themselves an idol of cast metal. Then Yahweh said to me, I have seen these people, and what a headstrong people they are. Let me destroy them and wipe out their name from under heaven, and make out of you a nation mightier and greater than they. Says Yahweh to Moses. So I went down, says Moses. I went down the mountain again, and it was blazing with fire, and in my hands were 2 tablets of the covenant, and I looked, and there you were. You had been sinning against Yahweh your God. You have made yourself a calf of cast metal. You have been quick to leave the way of Yahweh marked out for you. I seized the 2 tablets, and with my 2 hands, threw them down and broke them before your eyes. Then I fell prostrate before Yahweh as before. I passed 40 days and 40 nights, eating no bread and drinking no water, for all the sin you had committed in doing what was displeasing to Yahweh, thus arousing his anger. For I was afraid of this anger of the fury which so aroused Yahweh against you, that he was ready to destroy you. And once more Yahweh heard my prayer, says Moses here. Yahweh was engaged with Aaron too, and was ready to destroy him, and I pleaded for Aaron also. That work of sin, the calf you have made, I took and burned and broke to pieces and ground it to fine dust. I threw its dust into a stream that comes down from the mountain. And what happened? Continues here Deuteronomy 9:22. Israel sins again. At the Taberah too, and the Massah and Kibrot Hataba, you provoked Yahweh, and when Yahweh wanted you to leave Kadesh Barnea, saying, go up and take possession of the land I have given you, you rebelled against the command of Yahweh your God, and did not believe him or listen to his voice. You have rebelled against Yahweh from the day he first knew you. You Christians, as I Christian, need to understand this. The relationship between Israel and their God is very nasty. It's like a bad matrimony where you live in a house with people that don't obey you, that don't have a notion of what is right, but follow their own understanding of things, which are their own ambitions, personal ambitions, to have a lot of gold, to conquer other land. We're going to live in other land that he gave us. Yeah, but that guy is kind of boring, you know. Too much commandments. Fuck, man. Do as we want. Do as thy will, which is the principle of Satanism, of the Church of Satan, whatever. And the guys from the beginning of the 21st century, whatever. So let's try to resume these issues here. What the book of God is telling us is that the people is rebellious against their own God. And for that, they went 40 years to the desert and they received the tablets. You just heard it yourselves. In Deuteronomy, they went pagans. In less than 40 days, they were just building a gold calf and a golden calf. which is also the premise of my book. And they are 2 different things. This is the same calf they built thousands of years ago. The same calf. And these are the Zionists, in my opinion, are the people that rebelled against God and has taken over his people. There's no Zionists in the Jewish world, in between the Jewish people. Will that be the elect ones, the real elect ones? Because throughout history, what the Jews have done is disobey. their own God. Because of the struggle that Jacob said, they struggle with God. Well, no, they're not struggling with God. They're clearly turning away from his path. And that's what we celebrate on this Passion Week, the week of the Passion, the Passion of Jesus Christ. Because Jesus, being a Jew, tell them, F you, you're totally wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. You just heard what Yahweh told Moses. Let's go to some of the most important prophets that Christianity relies on in order to support their beliefs, and why is so ambiguous for Catholics and evangelicals to support a genocide based on the Bible or in their faith because their pastors, their bishops tell them so. I have examples of pastors and bishops and priests that said that we have to go to war against Iran and against Russia because they are the enemies, and it's in the Bible. I haven't heard that. Gog and Magog, and they made the associations and Russia, but they don't tell us that this is all bullshit, that we can have good relationships with Russia and China, regardless of what God says in the Bible, because God is inviting us Christians to obey our God, to follow his path, just like he did with the Jews thousands of years ago. And what did the Jews did? Okay. Let's go then to some of the important prophets, because as you saw in the last edition of React Today, as part of the World's Way Out project, Benjamin Netanyahu uses one of the most detested examples for Western tradition when it comes to believing in God, and hence the separation between state and church, because he's full of lies and deception. Why? If you pay attention to the last edition, you will see Benjamin Netanyahu saying the common factors that we have with Christianity, which I don't think we have any, and I just show you why. For example, try to convert a Jew in Israel or anywhere in the world. They're going to laugh at you and mock you because they don't believe in what you believe. They think you're stupid, and that's in the Talmud too, where Jesus is burning in an ocean of feces. Yeah, feces. I'm talking about, an ocean of crap, of excrement. It's exactly what I said. If you go to the book of Schaeffer, which I don't have in my library today, somebody needed to read it, and I borrowed it, which was, I hate to borrow books, but it's in good hands. It's just that right now I don't have it, and I would like to have it, in order to tell you what the Talmud people, which is the Zionists of our time, and the Zionists of the time of the Old Testament, that you just heard about, are the same. The same root comes from them. So, one of the major prophets, considered the major prophets, said, because not of the struggle, but the betrayal and assassination of the messenger, in this case Jesus Christ, which was a Palestinian to begin with, a Jew Palestinian. The sin of Judah is written with an iron pen, engraved with a diamond point on the tablet of their heart and on the horns of their altars as evidence against them.